Hey everybody, Kartik Subramaniam over at ADHI Schools. Welcome to our podcast. Hard to believe, tax time is coming up here. And for a lot of real estate agents, taxes tend to be, at least newer agents, taxes tend to be a very complicated topic for the new real estate professional for a lot of reasons. But one, mainly because you have, frankly, a lot of real estate agents that have never been self-employed before, never had 1099 income before, and they don't know what to write off. Now, I want to start off this podcast by saying that I am not a CPA. I don't have a degree in accounting. My degree is actually in business with an emphasis in real estate, so I'm not an accountant. With that being said, there are a whole host of articles online on the IRS website, on intuit.com, which of course is a very popular accounting company. They produce the software TurboTax. Even Realtor.com has a lot of common things that the real estate professional is able to write off. Now, a couple things that are very important to make sure that you write off as you do your taxes this year. It's already here in February, so we're, basically a couple months away from the tax filing deadline. And corporate tax returns are due in about a month. So it's definitely the time, busy season for the accounting profession to get into our great tax system and make sure that you are applying the tax code properly with your CPA or your tax preparer, or if you're on your own, knowing what you can and can't write off. Now, I would make a list, of course, of marketing that you've done. Any open house signs and flyers, business cards that you printed, mailers you did, website development. Those are all things that are common things that the real estate professional can write off. Meals and entertainment. If you take your client out, of course, there's a bunch of rules surrounding that. It'll let you talk to your CPA about what percentage of meals and entertainment you are able to write off. Are you involved in real estate coaching? Are you going to, Mike Ferry for coaching or any other one of these large real estate training companies? That may be a tax deduction for you. Any licensing or renewal fees that you pay may be a write-off for you. Mileage. There's also rules about that. Parking that you've paid for. Lodging for business purposes. So these are all things, of course, that generally the real estate agent should be able to write off, at least a portion of them. So I'll let you work this out with your CPA. I'll say it again, I don't have an accounting license. I'm not a CPA, but I really wanted to record this podcast to get you to think about preparing your taxes. Now, one thing that we see a lot in the real estate business is that people delay filing their tax return. Now, everybody that works for me on W-2 income, I have a number of W-2 employees that work for me, and man, they cannot wait to get their W-2 so they get that tax money. Why? Because every pay period, they're having a portion of their paycheck withheld, right? And if there were too much withholdings, you know that you'll get a tax refund. That, of course, is what a tax refund is. A tax refund is where too much was deducted from your paycheck, you get a tax refund. In the real estate business, because we're 1099, most people in the real estate business are not paying their quarterlies because either they don't want to do that or they don't make enough money where that's a requirement. So you have people that just kind of delay filing tax returns because there's not that incentive to quickly file because you got a tax refund coming. You don't have that when you're on a 1099 generally. So what happens with a lot of real estate people is, they'll have 1 year or 2 years or 3 or even, God forbid, more years go by where they don't file their tax returns. And that is a horrific outcome for you. So it is very important. Mainly, I wanted to record this mainly to remind you to file, right? I wanted to send you this to remind you to not delay filing your tax return, because if you do, you could find yourself in a snowball effect where, 4, 5, 6 years have gone by and you've never filed a tax return. So make sure that you're filing every year. Keep accurate records of things. There's a lot of really cool technology apps on your phone that can help you stay organized. Like there's mileage tracker apps where, your phone will track where you're driving, and If it's a business trip that you took, you can quickly log it in and you can compile that at the end of the year. That's a really useful one, particularly in the real estate business, because we drive so much as part of our job as real estate professionals. So for meals and entertainment, you might have an app that'll track that. So there's a lot of really useful tools, technologically speaking, that allow the real estate professional to keep organized. Now, what I do candidly is, and again, I know I've been around for 17 plus years, so I may have resources that the newer real estate professional doesn't have, but I have a bookkeeper that keeps track of our books that I meet with once a week. We compile all the accounting for the week, and we do this weekly. Now, that's not, frankly, an appointment that I enjoy. I actually dread that appointment. But it's a lot easier to meet every week or every month or even every quarter rather than trying to, reassemble everything at the end of the year, or worse, trying to reassemble 4 years of accountings. So I would set a discipline every week or month, even if you don't have a bookkeeper, set a discipline every week or month where you're forced almost to review this. That way you can have a profit and loss statement at the end of every month or every quarter, and certainly at the end of every year, just so you know how you're doing. Now, setting these sales goals is extremely important, but you won't know what goal to set as it relates to revenue unless you're tracking it consistently. Hope this podcast helped. At least I wanted to be an engineer of guilt. If you haven't compiled your financials for the last year, make sure that you do so as quickly as possible. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you. If you are interested in taking real estate classes, our information's on the screen. We will catch you on the next one.